Alrighty, so today we're going to talk about Inter Miami, and specifically a video that I was actually supposed to make before the regular season resumed, but I never got a chance to do so. But today we're going to talk about their quest in terms of making the playoffs, because despite the fact that Inter Miami is still way down in the standings, I mean, after their big win this weekend against the Red Bulls, they finally climbed themselves off the bottom into 14th position, but they are still a long way in terms of trying to get themselves in a playoff position. But knowing the fact that this team has not lost a single game in the Messi era, and the fact that when you look at the remaining schedule, I mean, I know before when I heard about the remaining schedule for Miami, it felt like it is a gauntlet. It really isn't. I mean, when I look at the remaining schedule, yes, they do have some tough game. I mean, the next game that they had against Nashville is going to be tough, and then the following one is even more tougher with them going on the road against LAFC. But one of the thing about Miami that could give them an advantage is the fact that they are going to be playing against some teams that they're going to be fighting for those playoff position, including the last two game of the season where they play against Charlotte. And Charlotte has always been a team that I thought could be a team that could be on the bubble of potentially making the postseason. Now, first of all, I was also wanted to say exactly how much points do Inter Miami needed to make it to the playoffs, and it's really tough to say because when you look at the standings right now, currently, when you look at the standings, I actually wrote the bottom seventh of the standing in the bottom part of the table. But currently, the team that's above the red line is Chicago Fire with an 8-8-9 record. They currently have 32 points and they have a 1.28 points per games ratio. Which, if you added that, or actually if you time 34 out of that, then they would finish the season with somewhere about 43 points. So, is that maybe the target point for Inter Miami to get? They need to get to 43 points. Is it going to be 44? Is it going to be 45? Is it going to be 42? Or is it even going to be lower than that? I mean, it's tough to say what exactly the target point total Inter Miami is needed. But one thing for sure is that I think they need to at least have 40 points. And right now, with 21 points, they need at least pretty much double the amount of total points that they currently have in these last 11 game of the season, and that is a tough thing to ask for a team to have that much amount of points. Like they should are on pace to have to get more than 2 points per game if they wanted to make the postseason. But when you look at the remaining part of the schedule, we start off with them on Wednesday playing against Nashville SC. Now, I'm also going to kind of make my prediction in terms of whether or not if they can win some of these games, which is why I got multiple pan here. The green one, of course, means that they will win. The purple one means that they will draw, and the red one, obviously, is the one that they're gonna lose. Which I have a feeling I'm not gonna use this very often because of how confident Inter Miami is. So yeah, for this one, I think they're gonna win. I really do, and I know Nashville is going to look for revenge, especially what happened in the Leeds Cup final. But Nashville this season they have not been good on the road, and we saw that in Exhibit against Atlanta United. They got absolutely throttled there. Now, of course, it can work two way. They got throttled in that game against Atlanta United. Maybe that will motivate Gary Smith team that hey, we're playing against a team that we lost in the Leeds Cup final, so we're definitely gonna maybe think about putting all our eggs in that basket in terms of focusing on this one. But then again, this game is a home game for Miami. And really, I think it is pretty clear that if Miami want to have a chance to make it to the playoffs this season, they have to win their home games. And so far, at least, even before the Messi era happened, I think Miami has done a good job in terms of winning their home game. They actually have been a pretty good team this season at home. So I do think that they will have the advantage, even if they're playing against a team that's looking for revenge like Nashville SC in this one. Then we get to the next one, which they play against LAFC versus Inter Miami. And also, this is where I want to get to the part that eventually we are going to see this team lose their first game. I mean, I would be absolutely stunned if they go the remaining part of the season without losing a game. And part of that obviously has to be with fixture congestion, but I'm pretty sure eventually someone is going to solve this Inter Miami team. Like this is just I'm don't think this team is going to go through a stretch where if they go the rest of the season unbeaten, I think that would be breaking the record for the longest unbeaten run an MLS team has gone through a season. Now in this one between LAFC and Miami, I'm going to say it's going to be a draw. And again, LAFC, they're a very good team. I mean, I know, yes, they lost in that game against Charlotte this weekend, but that was mainly because of fixture congestion that could be a problem. And knowing the fact that LAFC is at home in this one, they're definitely going to protect their home ground. Like, I know there's going to be some messy jersey there in LA, but if you know one thing about LAFC is that they do have some good supporter. The 3252. They're gonna boo anytime when there's a Messi chant that is going out and really provide the home field advantage for Inter Miami. And that's another thing, with Miami, the fact that some of these games that they're gonna play on the road, it's not really a road game for them, and there are gonna be some that I'll say specifically that I think could easily be a home game, similar to when they had their game against the Red Bulls just this weekend. So yeah, I think this could be a draw for them. So yeah, moving on to the next one is Miami versus Sporting KC. Now, I put an asterisk because that's the international break. And, there's already some Miami fans have been saying that, they should have moved that game. They should not have Inter Miami play during the international break, especially, if there is a possibility that Messi will not be available in this game if he's going to be called up for Argentina. Now, if he's not being called up by Argentina, I think they should be fine because I don't think Busquets and Jordi Alba is being called by the Spanish national team anymore. So if Messi does stay, I think it's going to be a win. I mean, I know they're going to lose a lot of players, but as long as you have Messi, and if Inter Miami will do anything to hope Argentina doesn't call him up, which is a bit of a task to ask because Argentina want to call up their best player for international break. But if it's just for a friendly, I'm pretty sure Messi does have the power to say, hey, no, I'm not gonna go with Argentina. I want to stay with with Inter Miami right now and have them pursue their way to make it to the playoffs. Then we go to September 16, where they play against Atlanta United. Now this game again, I mean, Miami has had a good record against Atlanta United, but that is when they're not playing on the road. They haven't been good on the road this season. In fact, I'm gonna say this could be a draw for Inter Miami, mainly because again, Atlanta has started to look much more decent, and this is not gonna be the same Atlanta team that we saw that got absolutely thrashed by Inter Miami a couple of games ago in the Leeds Cup, and knowing the fact that this is gonna be a home game for Atlanta United, they're starting to become very good once again playing at home at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, one of the toughest stadium to win. Yeah, I do think there's a chance that that Atlanta is going to put up a fight and it's going to end in a draw. Now the next one, they play against Toronto FC. I mean that's an easy win. I mean TFC again, they're a team that they have nothing to play for. Though I will say that game, it could be a trap game, especially when you look at what happened in the next one, which is against Orlando City on the road. You know that is going to be a trap game written all over it, and that I think Miami's going to be careful not really take TFC lightly in that one, but I do think that they should win. I mean, this is TFC we're talking about. They're basically gifting wins like it's nobody's business. Then of course we get to the Florida Derby between Orlando City and Inter Miami's, and I'm gonna say Miami's gonna win this. I think for the first time in their club history, they are going to beat Orlando City at Exploria Stadium. It has never happened so far, but a lot of that has to do. We've seen this season so far that Miami has done some good things so far. This season in terms so playing these big games and come out in the clutch moment, and I think this is going to be one of those games that is going to be the case where they're going to pull out the victory in this one and get all 3 points against an Orlando City side that, while this Orlando City side has been playing much better, yeah, I don't know about when they do face against Inter Miami and them pursuing their first ever Florida Derby victory at Exploria Stadium. Then I also included the U.S. Open Cup game, and just for fun, I'll say they win this. I mean, I think the narrative. I mean, as much as yes, the Houston Dynamo are going to be a fan of pretty much every MLS team that is hoping being to take Messi and this Miami team down. But I think in the end, the narrative is just too good to be denied. I think Miami is going to win this one at home, similar to what we see the narrative and the script writing in terms of how the Leeds Cup is going to finish. So yeah, Miami, with Messi coming in, already winning two trophy in the first couple of months. Then they of course play against NYCFC on a short rest. And keep in mind, this is going to be the fourth game in 10 days, or actually it's going to be the fifth game in 2 weeks for Inter Miami. So they're going to be really tired coming into this game against NYCFC, but I do think they should win this one relatively easy. Again, it's at home against an NYCFC team that are clearly heading the wrong direction. They look like a team that's not going to make it to the playoffs. And especially again, anytime when you face against teams that are just above you in the standings and are considered maybe to be your one of the team that you need to try to pass. I think that Miami's gonna have to win if they want to make it to playoffs. So yeah, I think they're gonna win that one. And then next one we got Chicago versus Inter Miami. So this is another game where I think it's gonna be basically a home game for Inter Miami because I'm pretty sure Soldier Field not only is gonna be sold out for this game, they may even open the upper deck for this game with the way that they could easily sell out that stadium with 62K when Inter Miami and Messi comes to town, and that pretty much 70% of that stadium is going to be rooting for Inter Miami. So yeah, I think it's going to be a win. It's going to be similar to what we saw in the game against the New York Red Bulls. So yeah, I think it's going to be a win. Though as I said, it's not really a long break. It's a short break for them, and that's also kind of the thing about this Inter Miami team. They're going to be playing a lot of game in a short amount of period. Then we go to them playing against FC Cincinnati. So you know what? I'm gonna say this is the one that I think they're gonna lose. I think this is probably gonna be the one that they finally suffer their first defeat because well, actually, you know what? I say that I take that back. I'm gonna say they're gonna win this. And the reason why I say they're gonna win this is I think FC Cincinnati probably wouldn't have anything to play for up to this point. Like at this point, I think they're gonna wrap up the supporter shield, and this is where maybe Pat Nolan is gonna rest some of his guys, knowing that they're gonna get first place. I mean, when you look at where FC Cincinnati is in the standings, they're definitely head and shoulder above the second place team, but most importantly, they do have a big lead in the supporter shield standings, and if they wrap that up before we get to this point, I think FC Cincinnati is going to put a relatively weak team, and that Inter Miami should easily take advantage of it. And you know how I also said that I think eventually this Inter Miami team is gonna go not eventually will lose their game. I'll be surprised they are gonna go unbeaten the rest of the way. Maybe I should take back of what I said. Now that I look at all these games and I pick Inter Miami winning it all of them. But then we got the game in the 18. This is the makeup game between them and Charlotte FC. And again, the this game and also the decision day game where they also play against Charlotte, but this time going on the road. These two games could really decide Inter Miami fate, especially if Charlotte is gonna stay competitive in the playoff race, which I think they are. I really think that when you look at the playoff race right now, and you look at all these teams that is in the Eastern Conference fighting for the standings. I mean, obviously Montreal, I think they're definitely going to make the playoffs. They're on the up right now. Chicago is still big questionable. DC is definitely a huge question because they've been on a bad run. Same with the Red Bulls. But Charlotte has, they definitely carry that momentum that they had from the Leagues Cup into League Play 2 after a big win against LAFC. So I won't be surprised. This could really decide if they do make it to the playoffs or not. And I feel like in some way with Miami playing against Charlotte, knowing that I think the schedule maker literally accidentally got this one right, knowing that if this is actually going to be a decider for between them and Charlotte of either making the playoffs, well, then what great way to not only have one game to decide it, but have two games back to back in the last two games of the season. But the one at home, I'm gonna say it's going to be a win. And the one on the road is going to be tough, but I do think that's going to be a win as well. I think the one thing I will say is that they will get some rest in the game on the 18th, but that's also after the international break has happened. So again, depending on player availability there, but I still think they'll have enough to win that one. And then on the 21st, I think they'll win that one too, going on the road. I mean, I know it's not easy to go on the road this season to play against Charlotte, but I said that, and this season Charlotte has dropped points at Bank of America Stadium. They have actually dropped a lot of points this season. They're not really a team that is very good at home. Very contrast to what we saw in the first season, where they really make Bank of America Stadium an absolute fortress. So That being said, in terms of the tallies, I would say that with a win here, so that's 3, 4, 7, 8, 11, 14, 17, 20, 23, 26, 29, and 32 points. So I think Inter Miami can finish with 53 points. And if they do finish with 53 points, yeah, that is definitely enough for them to make it to the playoffs. Maybe even get themselves, not even have to play in the playing in games in that 8th or 9th position. But going back to looking at the standings, 11, 2 and 12 is Montreal right now with 35 points, followed by Chicago, 8, 8 and 9 with 32 points. DC is currently in 10th with 8, 6 and 12 record with 30 points. The Red Bulls with a 7, 8 and 10 record with 29 points. Keep in mind, these all three of these teams they lost during last week's matchup. So they did for Miami. The good news is they definitely make up ground for those teams. Not so much for Charlotte FC. They did win that game against LAFC. That was a big win for them. They have a 7, 8 and 9 record with 29 points. NYCFC, of course, losing in their matchup this weekend and losing badly against FC Cincinnati with a 5, 11 and 10 record with 26 points. And then there's Miami at 6, 3 and 14 with 21 points. And then Toronto FC, a team that I don't think they should be too worried about with 3, 10 and 13 record and 19 points. And yeah, like I said, from what I'm predicting, I think they're going to finish with 50 plus points, which I think that would be just an insane thing to say because means that they're going to go unbeaten for the rest of the season and they're going to go on a run doing these last 11 games where they get like 32 points. Like that's insane. The fact that they can get 32 points in the last 11 games or so, but it's definitely possible. Well, actually, now I say that I don't think it's 32 points. Let me do the math again. 3, 4, 7, 8, 11, 14, 17, 20, 23, 26, 29, and 32 points. Yeah. Actually, I underestimate. It's actually 32 points in the last 11 game. That's just feels like it's a little bit insane, but I think it's definitely doable. And in my opinion, especially again when you look at the opponent, people say that they might go for a murderous throw. I'm not sure about that. That especially when they have been looking red hot so far ever since Messi has arrived with this team, and we might get a chance where maybe no one will be able to solve this Inter Miami team, and maybe they will eventually run the table and go all the way to the playoffs without losing a game. But let me know in the comments below what do you think of this video, and let me know in the comments below what do you think these remaining games. I mean, let me know in the comments below your prediction. Are they going to do enough to make it to the playoffs, or if there's is going to be a point where the magic moment of Messi and his company is going to run out, they may hit a rough patch. I mean, that's kind of the thing that is going to worry Miami fans that they just simply cannot avoid a rough patch. They cannot go through a losing run. They have to win all these games to make up ground. And yeah, let me know in the comments below. Can they do so? And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys do like, smash the subscribe button. And yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.